What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Schilling N Stunna podcast. Today we will be previewing the game out in Los Angeles. The Rams will be hosting our Dallas Cowboys. What are your initial thoughts going into this game, bro?
Man, look, we need to beat up on that offensive line, man. We got a good look at what it can be. But I think Mike McCarthey had a great quote last week when we was going into the Washington game, and he was talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, and you heard him say we can't guard ourselves against false confidence. So I think the same thing applies this week, and what he meant by that is like we can't be looking at it like, let's say what Philadelphia did to Washington and thinking we're gonna do the same thing. And I was saying like we talked about San Fran a little bit, and like we'll get into it. But look, they was able to pressure Stafford 17 times, 6 sacks allowed. So I know Dan Quinn in general, we over here licking our chops a little bit, you know what I mean? But I think they'll be looking at some things from our game as well. When you think about Sean McVay and the whole Dan Quinn dynamic, for them, I think they seen the zone thing working a little bit, and he'll be trying to find a way to get his guys to the outside, get east and west on us. We should do a good job of just trying to contain that, force everything inside. But on the flip side, hey, look, we seen that defensive line boasting those guys. Look, they was fierce out there. And look, we got a set of guys over here that can do the same thing and look, maybe even better. So
Same thing and better.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Looking into the game, obviously one major key will be containing Cooper Kupp as much as possible. There's only so much you can do against a player like that, so I imagine just try to keep a safety over the top. Don't let him get loose, but he's going to get his 10 catches easily. You know what I mean? Like he's going to do his thing. We just got to keep the yards at a minimum, try to keep him out of the end zone. And honestly, that's like the whole key to victory. No, I'm playing.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, if you see their first games and the ones that they lost, it was good and it was bad, you know what I mean, to a fault, because you got a guy who's Stafford who looks to Cooper Kupp over and over again. Obviously, they got a good chemistry. But what you want to do, like you hit it home on that, you definitely want to bracket him, you know what I mean? And hopefully he continues to look his way and make somebody else beat us, you know what I mean? And I think as long as we do that, try to force them to run the ball, which is obviously a flip side of what we was trying to do in the past couple of weeks, make them want to run the ball, and then when we get them obvious passing downs, we know what we can do.
I think too, like with Cooper Kupp, even if you double team the man, he's going to catch the ball. You're just putting a safety over the top to prevent the yak. Like he's going to get the catches no matter what. Looking at this offensive line for the Rams, as you were saying before, our front seven is going to have a fun day against these boys.
Yes, sir.
Stafford doesn't look like himself at all, but I mean, I don't even think that's his fault. He has no time to throw. And I think too, if we can force them to drop back and pass, it's game over. Even if they are going to feed Cooper Kupp, like that's fine. If we can get them into a drop back pass game, that's how you beat them. So Dan Quinn apply pressure. On the other side of things, as you were saying too, the way Connor McGovern got blown up last week against Jonathan Allen, he got a whole nother problem this week. So that's scary.
You know where Aaron Donald lining up.
What?
We ain't even got a second guess that.
What?
Yeah. So he'll definitely be keying in. He'll be lining right over that left guard spot. So I think I don't care. Kind of the same thing we talked about Kupp. The same thing applies to him. You definitely send a second guy there. You give him your help, and you make these other guys beat you. And another thing, we should continue to stay committed to the run game. Obviously, Cooper Rush, take your shots when needed to, but we can't afford to turn the ball over. We got to win this turnover battle once again. And also, just to flip it back on the offensive side, talking about that run game, it doesn't scare me at all. You know what I mean? It's not effective. The main thing we got to do when it comes to what they want to do, when it gets to these pre-motion snaps, that puts so much stress on the defense. So these guys on the edge this week, we need to do a better job of staying home. Obviously, we had a few problems of setting the edge last week against Washington. This week, you definitely set the edge. You force everything inside on your way to the quarterback. And I think as long as we do that, it's going to be a lot of, the jet sweep action and different things, a lot of counters off of that. So I think as long as we can just stay disciplined, and I can guarantee you that Dan Quinn is already hitting it home on his guys right now. Like, just stay home, be patient, be disciplined, and we'll be where we want to be.
Honestly, too, like, I'm not scared of the Rams at all, bro. Like, there's nothing about this team that scares me. I think we're better at every position in total,
That's our quarterback.
except quarterback. I mean, in total.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jalen Ramsey's the best corner on the field, probably, but our cornerback room is way better than theirs. I love our defensive line over there. It's like every single way you go, like we got the better roster. They probably got the better coach, honestly. That matchup, I
Yeah.
would take McVay all day. I'm trying to think outside of it. No. Do you think Allen Robinson has his breakout game against us?
No.
Or do you just think
I'm
Allen
gonna tell you,
Robinson's a dud?
he's definitely a dud. I think the first week we seen it right, and we was like, all right, cool. It looks bad, and then the thing is, I know Sean McVay came out the next week, and he was like, look, we know we got to do this. We know we got to spread the ball around. We got to get more guys involved. You said that, but hey, your quarterback still got to throw the ball. It does look like a good connection. The separation isn't always there, and even when he does get open, hey, look, you know what direction Stafford is looking. He looking to his guy Coop, and like I said, it's some good, but it's also to a fault. And just thinking about that, like how crazy is it, right? A year later, right? Just to make that Robert Woods move and to go out and spend that money on the Allen Robinson, how much do you think they regret that at this point?
Well, that's not even to mention the OBJ being there as well.
Yeah. But I mean, they can't have an OBJ at this point. So.
Right. No, I'm saying it's just crazy the weapons they've had in that building. In hindsight, obviously, you would want Robert Woods, but you never know. I mean, Allen Robinson was an elite receiver 2 seasons ago, and it just seems like he's done. Like, it seems like his step is gone. And it comes quick if that is the case. But we saw the tape after week 1 of all the how open he was. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, but I don't even think Stafford has time to get through his first reads. And Cooper Kupp's his first read. It's either Higbee or Kupp every time.
But listen, a receiver like Allen Robinson, I feel like that's kind of like the receiver that we do best against, like these bigger receivers where, it's not quite the shifty guys. Like you see Diggs and even Brown, like when they line up against Evans and Higgins and all these bigger guys, like Higgins had his plays here and there, but for the most part, this is a guy we match up well against. He doesn't scare me. So if this week, if anything, we know that he's not really the yak guy. And if we doing what we want to do and they forced to go to Allen Robinson, I think that's good things for what we want to do. And I think that'll be kind of leading in our way. And that might be leading to a victory at the end of that game.
So what are your official keys to victory going into week 5?
Definitely the first thing we hit on, obviously, was the bracket. You want a bracket cup.
Mm-hmm.
Force everything that way. Force them into some passing downs, right? Because just like we talked about a Carson Wentz, one thing about a Matthew Stafford is he will give you opportunities. He will get a little loose with the football. And this is a guy that we can get some turnovers against. Like we seen the pick 6 last night. They throw the ball a ton. You know what I mean? And when they throwing the ball, I think that's when we're at our best. So obviously we want to stay home with that. And main thing is let's go ahead and key on Aaron Donald and try to take him out the way. You know what I mean? Whether we got a stack on him, and I think this should be more of a pilot game versus a Zeke game. I don't want to just be continuously running in the gut. I want to see an even split this week again. And let's give Pollard some yak catches, kind of like you seen with Debo. You see Jeff Wilson was able to break loose. So I think opportunities will be there, but once again, just stay committed to the run game, no turnovers. And we know as long as we do that, the defense will put the team on his back this week.
As far as my keys, those are all terrific points, by the way. Force the turnovers, like you mentioned. Stafford will give you 1 or 2, and I'm going to be really upset if he decides not to give us 1. Stay disciplined. First and foremost. So,
big.
What was it? 11 penalties to 3 last week in our favor, and I think like over 100-yard difference. That's 100 free yards of football. So,
hey, we'll take that.
What?
And too often we see that side of it. So, yeah.
Usually So, stay disciplined. Ensure that interior protection is there. Get the help if we need it. If Donald is breaking through, put a tight end in there for a chip. Put Zeke in pass protection. And tempt the Rams to run the football. As I said before, if you can force them into a drop back pass game, then you're going to win. But tempt them to run the football so that we can't stack the box. I think coming out in the first half, they'll probably have a run-heavy approach. If they can get a lead, it'll stay that way.
But
Okay.
but look, don't. So when you say how we'll come out, I'm right with you on that. But one thing I don't want to do is get too conservative, right? Um, yes, they have a Jalen Ramsey over there, right? You know what I mean? And by name face, I know we all think about it like, hey, don't throw. But now look, listen. I want us to take our shots. You know what I mean? I want to step back. I want to throw the ball. I want to see CD in more in action. And we know Michael Gallup, he brings a different dimension to what we do. That's that vertical deep threat, and we haven't had that. We see what Michael Gallup was able to do to Jalen Ramsey. You know what I mean? I believe it was last year. And outside of that blatant that defensive pass interference call that they missed, we probably should have won that game. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I don't want us to be like, oh, we can't pass, we can't do that. Nah. I want to see us continue to open things up. You hear Mike McCarthy, he talking to the media. He was like, we ain't got no training wheels on. We feel good. You know what I mean? We feel good. Cooper Rush can run an offense. We're not putting the training wheels on or anything. Well, go ahead and stick to that. I'm not saying get away from the run game. Obviously, stay committed, but go ahead and definitely take your chances when needed to. Take some shots down the field, man. I think they can be had too.
Absolutely. I agree completely. But this is the Schilling N Stunna podcast. You got any final words?
Hey, let's get that dub. Let's get that dub, man. Listen, we in LA this week. Hey, look, it's another home game, man. You know how we rock out in LA, man. So, yeah, man. Appreciate all y'all for tuning in, man. Make sure y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe, man. And stay tuned. We'll be back with another one.